Chapter 5. Rue Bossy Angeles, Paris. She stood on a raised mirror platform in the middle of Giambattista Valli's elegantly appointed atelier, staring up at the glittering chandelier, trying to hold still as two seamstresses meticulously pinned up the hem of the delicate tulle skirt that she was modeling. Looking out the window, she could see a little boy holding a red balloon walking down the cobblestone street, and she wondered where he was heading. The man with the string of baroque pearls around his neck smiled at her. Bambolina, would you please turn for me? She twirled around once, and the woman surrounding her all oohed and awed. J'adore! Georgina swooned. Ah, oh, Gamba. You're right, just 2 inches shorter, and look how the skirt comes alive. It's like a flower blooming right before our eyes. Wendy cooed. Like a pink peony, Tatiana gushed. I think for this dress I was inspired by the ranunculus, the designer stated. I don't know that flower, but Yamba, you're a genius, an absolute genius. Tatiana praised. Georgina walked around the platform, scrutinizing the dress from every angle. When Kitty first told me that this couture dress would cost 175,000 euro, I have to confess I was a little surprised, but now I think it's worth every cent. Yes, I think so too, Kitty murmured softly, assessing the tea-length gown from its reflection in the rococo mirror leaned against the wall. Giselle, do you like it? Yes, Mummy, the 5-year-old said. She was getting tired of standing there in the dress with a hot spotlight on her, and she wondered when she could get her reward. Mummy had promised her a big ice cream sundae if she would stand very still during her fitting. Okay then, Kitty said, looking at Jambisti's villa assistants. We need 3 of these. 3? The tall, gangly assistant looked at Kitty in surprise. Of course, I buy everything in threes for myself and Giselle. We need one for one of our closets in Singapore, Shanghai, and Beverly Hills, but this one has to be ready for a birthday in Singapore on March 1st. Of course, Signora being Giambasita cut in. Now, ladies, I hope you don't mind if I leave Luca to show you the new collection. I have to rush off to an appointment with the fashion director of Saks. The women exchanged kisses with the departing designer. Giselle was sent off with her nanny around the corner to Angelina's for ice cream. And as more Veuve Clicquot and cafe creams were brought into the showroom, Kitty stretched out on the elegant chaise lounge with a contented sigh. It was only their second day here, and already she was having the time of her life. She had been on this Parisian shopping spree with her Singapore BFF, Wendy Mikahoto, Wujara, Tatiana Savarin, and Georgina Ting, and somehow things were so different on this trip. From the moment she stepped off Trenta, the Boeing 747-81 VIP she had recently refurbished to look like the Shanghai Bordello in a Wong Kar-wai movie, she was experiencing heretofore unprecedented levels of sucking up. When the motorcade of Rolls-Royce arrived at the Peninsula Paris, all of the hotel management stood in perfect line to greet her at the entrance, and the general manager escorted her up to the impressive Peninsula suite. When they went to dinner at Le Doyen, the waiters were bowing and scraping so frantically that she thought they were going to break into somersaults. And then during her Chanel contour fittings at Rue Cambon yesterday, none other than Karl Lagerfeld's personal assistant came downstairs with a handwritten note from the great man himself. Kitty knew that all this royal treatment was because she had arrived in Paris this time as Mrs. Jack Bing. She wasn't just the first wife of some random billionaire anymore. She was the new wife of China's second richest man, one of the 10 richest men in the world. To think that Peng Li, the daughter of a sanitation worker in Qinghai, had achieved such great heights at the relatively young age of 34, although she told everyone she was 30. Not that any of this had been easy. She had worked non-stop for her entire life to get to this place. Her mother had come from an educated middle-class family, but she had been banished with her family to the countryside during Mao's Great Leap Forward campaign. But she had installed in Kitty that getting an education was the only way out. All through her youth, Kitty studied extra hard to always be at the top of her class, top in her school and top in her state exams, only to see her one chance at a higher education gets snatched away when some boy with all the right connections was awarded the only slot to university in the entire district, the slot that was rightfully meant to be hers. But Kitty didn't give up. She kept on fighting, moving first to Shenzhen to work at a KTV bar where she had to do unspeakable things, and then to Hong Kong, landing a bit part in a local soap opera, transforming into a recurring role after becoming the director's mistress, dating a series of rather inconsequential men until she met Alistair Chong, that cute, clueless boy who was much too sweet for his own good, going with him to the Q wedding and meeting Bernard Time, running up to Vegas with Bernard to get married, meeting Jack Bing at Bernard's father's funeral, divorcing Bernard, and finally at long last marrying Jack, a man who was truly worth all her efforts. And now she had provided him with his first son, Harvard Bing, born in 2013. She could do anything she damn well pleased. She could fly to Paris on her own private jumbo jet with one French translator, 2 children, 3 fabulous girlfriends, all as toned and polished and expensive dressed as she was, and all wives of rich expats in Shanghai, Hong Kong, Singapore, 4 nannies, 5 personal maids, and 6 bodyguards, and rent out the entire floor of the Peninsula Hotel, which she did. She could order the entire Chanel Autumn Hiver Couture collection and have every piece made in triplicate, which she did. She could take a personal guided tour of Versailles with a chief curator, followed by special alfresco lunch prepared by Yannick Alino at Marie Antoinette's Hamlet, which was happening tomorrow, thanks to Oliver Sen, who set it all up. If someone wrote a book about her, no one would believe it. Kitty sipped her champagne and glanced at the ball gowns that were being paraded before her, feeling a little bored. Yes, it was so beautiful, but after the 10th dress it was beginning to look the same. Was it possible to overdose on too much beauty? She could buy up the whole collection in her sleep and forever forget she ever owned any of it. She needed something more. She needed to get out of here and look at some Sambian emeralds, maybe. Luca recognized the look in Kitty's face. It was the same expression he had seen all too often in some of his most privileged clients, these women who had constant, unlimited access to everything that their hearts ever desired, the heroes, celebrities, and princesses that had sat in this very spot. He knew he needed to change direction, to shift the energy in the room in order to inspire his high-spending client. Ladies, let me show you something very special that Gambier has been toiling away at for weeks. Come with me. He pressed against one panel of the Boiserie wall, revealing Jean-Baptiste's inner sanctum, a hidden workroom that contained only one gown displayed on a mannequin in the middle of a pristine space. This dress was inspired by Gustave Klimt's Adele Bloch-Behr. Do you know the painting? It was purchased for $135 million by Ronald Lauder and hangs in the New Gallery in New York. The ladies stared in disbelief at the artistry of the off-the-shoulder ball gown that transformed from ivory tulle at the bodice and into a shimmering gold column with a cascading train-length skirt embroidered with thousands of golden chips, lapis lazuli, and precious gemstones, painstakingly scattered into the twirling mosaic pattern. It truly looked like a Klimt painting come to life. Oh my God, it's unbelievable, Georgina squealed, running one of her long manicure nails over the gem-encrusted bodice. Ravissement, Tatiana commented, mistakenly trying to show off her secondary school French. Combien? We don't have a price on it yet. It's a special commission that's taken 4 full-time embroidery, 3 months to assemble so far, and we will have weeks of work to go. I would say that this dress with all the rose gold disc and precious stones will end up costing more than 2.5 million euros. Kitty stared at it, her heart suddenly beginning to pound in that delicious way it did whenever she saw something that aroused her. I want it. Oh, Madam Bing, I'm so sorry, but this dress is already spoken for. Lucas smiled at her apologetically. Well, make me another one. I mean, another 3, of course. I'm afraid we cannot make you the exact dress. Kitty looked at him, not quite comprehending. I'm sure you can, madam. I hope you will understand. Gambier would be happy to collaborate with you on another dress in the same spirit, but we cannot replicate this one. This is a one-of-a-kind piece for a special client of ours. She is from China also. I'm not from China. I'm from Singapore, Kitty declared. Who is this special client? Wandika demanded, her thick mane of Beyonce bronze hair shaking indignantly. She's a friend of Gamba, so I only know her by her first name, Colette. The lady suddenly fell silent, not daring to ask what they wanted to ask. Wendy finally popped, do you referring to Colette Bing? I'm not sure if that is her surname. Let me check the spec sheet. He turned over a leaf of paper. Ah, yes, it is Bing. Is she related to you, Madam Bing? Luca asked. Kitty looked like a deer in the headlights. Was Luca kidding? Surely he must know that Colette was her husband's daughter from his first marriage. Tatiana quickly jumped in. No, she's not, but we know of her. Do we ever? Wendy sniffed, wondering whether she should tell Luca how Colette, Bitch from Hell video tirade had gone viral in China, logging more than 63 million views on WeChat alone, making her such a notorious poster child of Huai Dai bad behavior that she was forced to flee to London in disgrace. Wendy decided that it was better not to bring it up now. So this dress is for Colette, Kitty said, fondling over the gossamer-like organdy sleeves. Yes, it's going to be her wedding dress, Luca smiled. Kitty looked at him stunned. Colette is getting married? Oh yes, madam. It's the talk of town. She's marrying Lucien Montague Scott. Montague Scott, what does his family do? Wendy asked, since everything in the universe revolved around being part of an incredibly rich Indonesian family. I don't know anything about his family, but I believe he's a lawyer, Luca said. Tatiana immediately began Googling his name and read aloud from the first link that popped up. Lucien Montague Scott is one of Britain's new generation of environmental lawyers, a graduate of the Magdalen College. It's pronounced Magdalen, Georgina corrected. Magdalen College, Oxford. Lucien sailed across the Pacific on a catamaran made out of 12,500 reclaimed plastic bottles with his friend David Mayer de Rothschild to highlight the problem of global marine pollution. More importantly, he had been involved in publicizing the environmental crisis in Indonesia and Borneo. I think I'm going to fall asleep, Tatiana scoffed. He's a charming gentleman. Comes with her to every fitting, Luca remarked. I can't imagine why Colette Bing, of all people, would end up settling for this guy. He's not even an M&A or lawyer. His annual salary probably wouldn't even pay for one of her dresses. I guess she must be desperate to have mixed-race babies, Georgina said, glancing over at Kitty, hoping she wasn't too upset by the news. Kitty just stood staring at the dress, her expression inscrutable. Oh, I want to have a beautiful mixed-race baby too, Luca. Do you know how hot single French counts? Wendy asked. I'm sorry, mademoiselle. The only Comte I know is married. Married is fine, I'm married too, but I would dump my boring hubby if I could get a beautiful half-French baby, Wendy giggled. Wendy, careful what you wish for. You never know what sort of baby you'll get, Tatiana said. No, if you have a baby with a Caucasian man, you're almost guaranteed it will be attractive. There's a 99% chance it will look like Keanu Reeves. That's why so many Asian women are desperate to find white husbands. First of all, Keanu isn't half white. He's like 3/4. His mother is only part Hawaiian and his father is American. And not to burst your bubble, but I have seen some other unfortunate-looking mixed-race babies, Georgina insisted. Yes, but it's very rare and so tragic when that happens. Oh my God, did you hear about the man in China who sued his wife because all the children came out looking so ugly? He had purposely married this beautiful woman, but it turns out she's had lots of plastic surgery before she met him. So the children all look like her before the surgery. Wendy giggled. The story was a lie, Tatiana insisted. I remember when it went viral, but in turn out the newspapers made up the whole thing and did a fake photo shoot with 2 models posing with a bunch of ugly kids. Finding the topic of unattractive children to be appalling distasteful, Luca tried to steer the conversation in another direction. I think Monsieur Lucas and Mademoiselle Colette will have beautiful children. She's so pretty, and he's very handsome, you know. Well, good for him. Good for them, Kitty said in a merry tone. Now, all this baby talk has made me want to look at some daytime outfits for Giselle. Can we do that? And do you have anything fun and unisex I can dress Harvard in? Oui, madame. As he headed back to the main showroom, Georgina took him tell me, Luca, do you live on the second floor? Without missing a beat, Luca replied with a grin. Yes, mademoiselle. I think you've seen me before. Wendy and Tatiana stood by the doorway watching as Kitty lingered for a moment longer by the dress. As she turned to leave, she grabbed the back of the precious crimson spice skirt and gave it one quick forceful tug, ripping it clear down the middle. Chapter 6. 11 Nassim Road, Singapore. Winding through the heart of Bukit Timah, Nassim Road was one of the few long, picturesque streets in Singapore that still retained a feel of graceful old-world exclusivity, with its parade of historic mansions converted into embassies, tropical modern bungalows on crisp manicured lawn, and state black-and-white houses left over from the colonial era. Number 11 Nassim Road was a particularly fine example of black-and-white architecture, as it had only changed hands once since it had been built a century ago. Originally commissioned by Bostard and Company, it had been purchased by S.K. Leong in 1918, and every original detail has been preserved and lovingly maintained since then by 3 generations of Leongs. As Astrid pulled up the long driveway lined with Italian cypresses to the home where she had grown up, the front door opened and the majordoma gestured for Astrid to come down, and Astrid frowned. She was picking up her mother to visit Amma at the hospital, and they were already running late for the morning briefing with Professor On. Astrid left her dark blue Acura in the arch porte cochere and entered the foyer, bumping into her sister-in-law, Kathleen, who was seated on a rosewood stool, lacing up her walking shoes. "Morning, Kat," Astrid greeted. Kathleen looked up at her with strange expression. "They still eating? Sure you want to show your face today?" Astrid figured that Kathleen was referring to the Isabel Wu fiasco and the other evening. With all the attention focused on her grandmother, the incident had gone unmentioned by her parents, but she knew that wouldn't last long. "It's now or never, I guess," Astrid said, bracing herself as she walked towards the breakfast room. "Godspeed," Kathleen said, grabbing her battered Jones Gracer shopping bag as she went out the door. Breakfast at Nessim Road was always served in the glass inn summer porch adjacent to the drawing room, boasting a circular marble-top teak table with the Dutch Indies, wicker chairs cushioned in whimsical monkey print chintz, and a profusion of hanging ferns from the Tysel Park greenhouse. It was one of the loveliest rooms in the house. As Astrid entered, her elder brother Henry gave her a dirty look and got up from the table to leave. He muttered something under his breath as he passed by, but Astrid couldn't make out what he said. She glanced first at her father, who was sitting in his usual wicker chair, methodically slathering a piece of toast with gooey marmite, and then at her mother, who sat in front of her of an untouched bowl of porridge, clenching a wadded-up ball of tissue in her hand, and her face red and puffy from crying. "My God, did something happen to Amma?" Astrid asked in alarm. "I think the question should be, will you finish your grandmother off with another heart attack?" When she reads this, Felicity chucked a piece of paper into the marble-top table in disgust. Astrid grabbed the sheet and stared at it in dismay. It was a printout from Asia's most popular online gossip column. Daily Dish from Leonardo Lay. The bewitching heiress at the centre of the Isabel Wu Soupgate incident. For those of you who have been following the scalding scandal involving tech billionaire Charlie Wu's wife Isabel that almost caused an international incident between Malaysia and Hong Kong, fasten your seatbelts because boy do I have some shockers for you. We all know that Charlie and Isabel announced their separation in 2013, and informers tell me they've been privately negotiating the terms of the divorce ever since. At stake is a share of the Wu's family fortune, their heritage mansion on Peak Road, and the custodial rights of their 2 daughters. But a close friend of Isabel's told me it's been terribly hard for Isabel. She suffered her recent breakdown because of the emotional stress of the divorce and the other woman involved. Yep, you heard right. Shocker number 1. Daily Dish can now confirm that the other woman is none other than Astrid Leong Teo, the model, pretty wife of hunkalicious Singaporean venture capitalist Michael Teo, who I think missed his calling as a Calvin Klein underwear model, and mother to a 7-year-old boy, Cassius. Yes, Charlie and Astrid have been having a torrid secret affair for the past 5 years, and in fact, shocker number 2, that incredible Tom Kunding design house currently under construction in Shek O that everyone thought was Leo Ming's new private museum is actually going to be Charlie and Astrid's love pad, once they can legally shack up. Astrid and Michael Teo are apparently headed to divorce courts too. The stunning actress Astrid may be an unfamiliar name to Hong Kong readers, but she has an extraordinary backstory. According to my trusted Singapore insider, Astrid is the only daughter of Harry Leong, who officially is the chairman emeritus of the Institute of Asian Affairs. Unofficially, he is one of Singapore's most influential political power brokers who, by my sources tell me, will also happen to head SK Leong Holdings Proprietary Limited, the secretive corporate behemoth that is rumoured to own the Bank of Borneo, Selangor Mining, New Malaysia Post, and Palmcorp Berhad, one of the world's largest commodity traders. And that's not all. Astrid's mother, Felicity Young, hails from one of Singapore's most pedigreed families. The Youngs are in their own stratosphere, cousins to the Sians, the Tans, and the Shangs. They are related to practically everybody who's anybody, and Felicity's mother Sheng Shui owns Tai Thorol Park, the largest private estate in Singapore, my insiders report. Schooled in London and Paris, Ashut moved in the most rarefied circles and counts amongst their friends disposed European royals, A-list fashion designers and celebrity artists. How can Isabel compete with that? Isn't some filthy rich heiress. She has an important career as a lead advocate for Hong Kong's poor and downtrodden and is busy raising her 2 daughters, not jet setting around the world. Sitting in the front rows of fashion shows. No wonder she would suffer a breakdown. Of course, Charlie would be swept up by the ultra-glamorous life of Astrid. He was seduced by her once before, which leads us to shocker number 3. Back in their college days, Astrid and Charlie were actually engaged, but the union was broken off by her family because the Hong Kong rules weren't deemed worthy enough by those snotty Singaporeans. It seems like the star-crossed lovers have never gotten over each other, which have led to this big ugly mess. Stay tuned to Daily Dish for more shockers to come. Astrid sank into a chair, trying to collect herself after reading the incendiary column. She was so upset that she didn't even know where to begin. Who sent you this? What does it matter who sent it? The news is everywhere now. Everyone knows your marriage is in the rocks and that you are at fault. Felicity moaned. Come on, Mum, you know it wasn't my fault. You know how careful and discreet I've been for the past couple of years as we've been working out the divorce. This article's nothing but a stream of inaccuracies and lies. When have I ever sat in the front row of any fashion show? I'm always backstage helping out. Look, they even got Cassian's name wrong. Her mother looked at her accusingly. So you're denying everything. You're not having an affair with Charlie Wu. Astrid let out a deep sigh. Not for the past 5 years. Charlie and I have only been together for about 1.5 years, and this was after I left Michael and Charlie and filed for divorce from Isabel. Then it is true. That's why Isabel Wu would go berserk and try to attack you. You broke up her marriage. You broke up her family. Felicity muttered through her tears. Mum, Isabel Wu's marriage to Charlie was never a happy one. I had nothing to do with their breakup. If you want to know the truth, she had been cheating on him for many years with numerous men. That still doesn't give you any excuse to be Anna Karenina. You're still being unfaithful. You're both still married to other people under the eyes of the law and God. Goodness me, what will Bishop C think when he gets wind of this? Astrid rolled her eyes. She didn't give a rat's ass what Bishop C thought. So now what? You're going to move into that love pad with Charlie after the divorce and live in sin. That's the other lie. It's not our love pad. Charlie started building that house long before we ever got together. He bought that land after his first separation from Isabel 4 years ago. Astrid took in a deep breath and steeled herself. It was time to come completely clean with her parents. But I suppose you should know that Charlie and I do intend to get married when our divorces are finalised, and I will likely be spending more of my time in Hong Kong. Felicity looked at her husband in horror, waiting for them to react. You suppose we should know. You're supposed to get married this year, and you only tell us now. I cannot believe you would actually marry Charlie after all this. Disgraceful, so disgraceful. I really don't see what's so disgraceful about this, Mum. Charlie and I are in love. We both acted entirely honourably throughout a very difficult time. It's just unfortunate that Isabel had another breakdown. That's all. That breakdown, those obscene things she said about you in front of the whole world. I have never felt so humiliated in all my life. And those poor ladies, how can I ever look the Sultan of Perawak on the face again? We almost killed his poor mother. Auntie Sarah is just fine, Mum. You saw yourself. The hijab was so encrusted with down that hardly anything got through. She was more in shock because the laksa wasn't halal. That Charlie Wu is all his fault that our names are being dragged through the mud. Felicity continued to rage. Astrid sighed in frustration. I know you've never liked Charlie or his family. That's why you spoke us up in the first place all those years ago. But things have changed now, Mum. No one cares about their lineage and all that nonsense anymore. The Wus are no longer considered very rich. They are an established family now. Establish my foot. Wu Haolian's father used to sell soy sauce on a bicycle. That may be how they started out, but they've come a long way since Charlie's grandfather's time. Charlie has created one of the most admired companies in the world. Look at your new phone, the screen, the casing. I'm sure at least half the company's components are manufactured by a Wu Microsystem. I detest this phone. I never knew how to use this stupid thing. I swipe and swipe instead of making a phone call. Some silly video of an Indian granny singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star keeps appearing on my screen. I love to ask Lakshmi or Padme to make every damn call for me. Felicity was seething. Well, I'm sorry you still don't know how to use your smartphone, but that has nothing to do with how the Woos are perceived these days. Look how much money Mrs. Woo gives to that church on Barker Road. Those Woos are frightfully common, and they prove it all the more by giving an obscene amount of money to that church. They think their dirty money can buy their way into heaven. Astrid just shook her head. Stop being unreasonable, Mum. Your mother is not being unreasonable, Astrid's father cut in, speaking up for the first time that morning. Look at what's happened. Until today, our family was able to enjoy the privilege of total privacy and anonymity. The Leong's name has never appeared in the gossip columns, much less something as silly as this. I don't even know what to call this idiotic internet thing. And you're blaming Charlie this time. Astrid shook her head, not seeing her father's logic. No, I'm blaming you. Your actions, however unconsciously, have led to this. If you had never gotten entangled these people, our lives would not now be under the spotlight. Come on, Dad, you're making a mountain out of a mole. Shut your mouth and don't interrupt me when I'm talking. Harry banged his fists on the table, startling both Astrid and her mother. None of them could recall the last time he had raised his voice like this. You have completely exposed yourself, and you have exposed and compromised your family. For more than 200 years, our business interests have never been scrutinized, but now they will be. Don't you see how this affects you? I don't think you truly realize how much damage has been done, not just to us, but to your mother's side. The Shangs were mentioned, Tysell Park was mentioned, and all at the most inopportune time possible when your grandmother is so ill. Tell me how you plan to face Uncle Alfred when he arrives this afternoon. Astrid was momentarily dumbfounded. She hadn't thought about the repercussions of this gossip site, but she finally said, I will face Uncle Alfred myself, if that's what you want me to do. I'll explain everything that happened. Well, you can thank your lucky stars you won't have to. This column and the whole ridiculous website has been taken down. Astrid looked at her father, a momentary surprise. This article is really gone, erased from the face of the planet. Although enough damage has been done, there's no telling how many people must have read this rubbish before it was taken down. Well, hopefully that exposure will be minimal. Thanks, Dad. Thank you for doing this. Astrid muttered in relief. Oh, I had nothing to do with it. Thank your husband. Michael had it taken down. Yes, he bought the company that owns this infernal website and put an end to all the nonsense. It's probably the first useful thing Michael has ever done to protect you. Which is far more than I could say for Charlie Were. Astrid sat back in her chair, feeling her face flush with anger. This was all Michael's doing. He must have alerted her parents to this gossip column in the first place, and of course he was only too happy to alert them that he saved the day. Hell, he was probably Leonardo Lay, Singapore insider, relishing his chance to sabotage her. Thanks for listening.